Mm. Hello, YouTube. How's everybody doing? This is a logical conclusion. Um, it is Thursday evening. I'm in Ottawa, Canada, uh, dealing with maybe another half an hour of sunlight and coming in to stream something because I have it on my heart and I want to share it with everybody. And that is what you see on the title, which is Believe in Yourself and Be Free. Take it from me. Believe in yourself and be free. Take it from me. And that's not something that I came up with. I would say something that's definitely on my heart, but it's actually a song that I've been listening to for the past, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years now. But the song is actually from Nasty Nas, and it's one of his bars. And the entire bar is the beauty that was trapped under siege. Believe in yourself and be free. Take it from me. The song is called We March as Millions, and it was released in 2005 on an album called 1 Million Strong Love, Peace, and War Volume 2. And I think that song or that album was like part of a 10-year anniversary of the Million Man March, right? And they had a soundtrack, and that was one of the songs on it. And it's classic. That is a classic song. If you don't have that on your playlist, make sure you get it on your playlist. And that's not the only hot bar on that song. That song is Sora after Sora, verse after verse, bar after bar of just something that a message that was meant for you from the heart, you know. And it's something that I think if we really listen to it and understand the meaning of it, it's going to help to take us out of a slumber that we've been in for a long time. Let's just say hundreds of years, right? Hopefully, it wakes more and more people up. I think this is our year to wake up, without a doubt. I want to talk about that first bar first. The beauty that was trapped under siege. So, for many years, it's been this long-standing idea in Black America that we're oppressed, and that idea is correct. We have been oppressed, without a doubt. Understanding that before we even came to America, we were oppressed because we were chased out of our homelands to the east, right? Egypt was invaded 11 times over. So history was indeed stolen. When you look at those statues, those bas reliefs, uh, the pyramids, those were built by somebody. And if you look at the pictures of these Egyptians, they look really familiar. We endured the trans-Saharan slave trade. We endured the transatlantic slave trade. Indeed, the African Holocaust. 12.5 million Africans removed from their homeland, many dying in transit, others being implanted against their will in the New World. And for the Africans that remain in Africa, they endured colonialism, which is slavery by another name. Back on the American continent, we endured sharecropping, Jim Crow. You had the civil rights of the 60s. You had the black exploitation of the 1970s. You had the crack epidemic of the 1980s. The gang violence that went through the roof in the 1990s. We've managed to maintain the highest prison rates with the school to prison pipeline. We've suffered the worst health. We've suffered through the worst economically. We've been pigeonholed into just a few areas like sports and entertainment. And this wasn't just in America. This has happened to Black people the world over. In Colombia, Brazil, Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, all throughout the Caribbean, the beauty that was trapped under siege. How many people knew that 90% of Haiti's wealth was in the bank account of two men, both of which happen to be Jewish, and both were related? And they're both billionaires. And that's not any hate on the Jews. That's not knocking the Jews. That's just spitting facts. I'm not knocking them for doing what they do. But if they do it at the expense of Black people, that's a problem. A lot of that is on us because we fail to turn the Black dollar in our own community, right? Our women have been afraid. Our women have been afraid to be themselves. Our men have been afraid to be themselves, right? In the military, we tend to keep our hair cut short, right? Because we look more presentable that way. But if a lot of people had it their way, they have their hair long, they have their hair twisted, right? In many cases, our women don't wear the natural hair. There's something that's changing now. But in many cases, they have not and still don't wear the natural hair. You know, in many cases, women have been bleaching their skin. In many cases, men have been bleaching their skin. And, you know, the darker you are, the more pressure you may have felt, and the more you might want to bleach your skin. But you've even had people that were not dark, and they still bleach their skin. Look at a person like Sammy Sosa. And then we get into pissing matches over, you know, who had it worse. Light skin versus dark skin. Men versus the women. Africans versus African Americans. I heard somebody say, was colonialism worse than slavery? Was colonialism worse than slavery? Colonialism was slavery. Or we get into pissing matches over whose hood is more deadly. Just as silly. You know, I'm from Chicago, I'm from Chirac. I mean, isn't the hood a hood? If we extrapolate and we only look at the Black community in a lot of cities, even if you're talking about Des Moines, Iowa, or whatever else, if you took that Black community and you extrapolated that out, we'd have just as many issues as Chicago. And in a lot of cases, it's worse in the smaller cities. Atlanta is a lot smaller than Chicago. New Orleans is a lot smaller than Chicago, but their crime rates, person for person, Black person for Black person, are higher. The beauty that was trapped under siege. We've kept uh, the worst jobless rates. And that's why Trump can come out now and say, look at my black over there, look at my African American over there, or African American unemployment is at the lowest level ever. And it is. And that's a good thing. And I'm not taking anything away from him for that, even though it was already increasing under Obama. But we're not going to take anything away from him, because let's not get wrapped around the axle about who brought about what. At the end of the day, it's getting better. But we have a long way to go. The beauty that was trapped under siege. So it sounds crazy when I come back and I say, believe in yourself and be free. Take it from me. Because the moment you say, in spite of all that, all of the issues, all of those problems, I'm still going to dream big. And I think you have to dream big. You can't just have normal dreams. I believe that if you have a normal dream, you upset God. God gives you one life to live with no limitations. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door shall be answered. No limitation. Whatever you want, you can have. Think about Matthew 25:26. I'm talking about the third servant who buried his master's the talent given him by his master. Why would the master rebuke him and call him wicked and lazy, knowing that the other two, one got 5, the other got 2, and he praised them for increasing? Here's this one. He says, I'm just going to bury this and be safe, because I know you'd be upset otherwise, Lord. Why would he be so upset with that one and call him wicked and lazy? Let's think about this. Let's dissect it. While he buried his talent, what was he doing with his time? That's the definition of slothfulness. What was he doing with that time, right? You have to dream big. You have to set goals. You have to make a plan. You have to execute that plan. If you're not doing that, you're destroying yourself. You're either going to build or you're going to destroy. You're wasting time. You're missing opportunity. You're either building or you're falling into bullshit. What do they say? An idle mind is the devil's playground. So back to the point, which is, yes, we've been oppressed. Things have improved, but still we suffer oppression. And a large part of that suffering is in our minds. I'll go back to what Kanye West said when everybody made him into the devil by him saying that 400 years of slavery was a choice. Maybe he was trying to wake some people up. Slavery began in the New World in 1619, or in America in 1619. The year is now 2019. It's 400 years. And it's time for us to come out of Egypt. Not physically, metaphorically. I tell a lot of people, I've told a lot of people, think like an immigrant. Understand that Africa is for the Africans. And that's not an uninvolved idea. That's not to say that other people can't love Africa, can't visit Africa, can't live in Africa. But Africans, and by Africans I mean all Black people, should focus on building Africa, making it more desirable. It's already desirable. It already has large cities. It already has beautiful natural features. We need to improve on that, and we need to improve on each other, how we treat each other and bring the best out of each other. That means more cities, more doctors, more lawyers, more inventions, more priests. Let's change the global standard of beauty, and that should be a really easy thing to do because we're a beautiful people. This entire idea was sparked because I'm going to Kenya next month. Let me start. I was in Ghana in 2011, and that was my first time in Africa. And when I got on the plane to go to Ghana, what I noticed was the plane was about 1/3 African. It was 1/3 Asian, and then it was 1/3 white, and then there was me. I was the only African American on that plane. And I'm not knocking white people or Asian people for going to Africa. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But I was the only African American on that plane. And I've spoke to other Black Americans that travel and that have been to Africa. And you'll hear similar stories from them. They were either the only one or one of the only few. So let's come back to 2019. Done a little bit of research. Said, okay, man, let me go to Kenya. And I'm in Ottawa. So I'll go to the High Commission. I'll get my visa there, get my paperwork together, and I go there. You would think if you're walking into a building that is, an African High Commission in Canada, you would think you probably see a lot of Kenyans. But the first face I saw going into the Kenya High Commission was an Asian face. I'm not going to guess that he was Chinese. I'm going to assume that he was Chinese. All right. Now, I'll say this again. I'm not knocking the Chinese for going to Kenya. I think that's a good thing in a lot of ways. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Now go inside. And you had a lady behind the desk, nice enough, took my paperwork, told me to go sit down. And then another Asian person came up. And she allowed him to come in the office and sit down or whatever else. I felt some type of way for a second, but I kind of just held my. I think the point was, I was dressed like I'm dressed right now. He was dressed in a suit and tie. I don't know how much he was worth. I don't think he was worth as much as me financially, But it's whatever, man. I'm not knocking that, right? I'm not feeling some type of way. All I'm saying is, if I'm at the Kenyan embassy, I'd expect to see you would like to see more Africans, Black Americans, Black Canadians that will be there getting their visas also so that they can travel. Okay, I'm not knocking the Chinese. I'm saying that now for, I don't know, the third or the fourth time. I don't knock anybody else for doing what they want to do. But I'll bring it back to what I was talking about. Believe in yourself. You'll be free. You can break all the chains of oppression by believing in yourself. All that oppression happened. And if you think that that oppression can stop you, you're right. And if you think you can overcome that oppression, you're right. And if you think you can live anywhere in the world, you're right. And if you think you can afford it, you're right. Whatever you think, you're right. Believe in yourself, you'll be free. Take it from me, you're beautiful. You are beautiful, believe that. You are wealthy, believe that. You are able, believe that. We can come out of this stank, this slump, this poverty. We can achieve, believe that. And that's my message, man. At the end of the day, we love all people. I want all people to achieve. I want all people to understand that they are creators. Literally. But especially for the beauty that has been trapped under siege. It's time for us, it's time for you, it's time for we to rise up. 2019 is a prophetic year. This is a real year. It's happening right now, and you're a part of it. This is the best time to be alive. Dream it, write it down, make a plan. Speak positive affirmation. Don't speak like you want it. Speak like you have it. Everything, anything in your life, meditate on it long enough, it will manifest. So that's it. That's all I had to say. Hopefully this touches somebody's heart. Hopefully this reaches somebody. We understand that you're hurt. We understand that you've been through hell and back. We understand that the cards are stacked against you. But in spite of all that, dream audacious, believe in yourself, and be free. Take it from me. This is the logical conclusion. I'm signing off, but I'm thinking about you, and I love you.